Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Flock Talk. I'm John Calavita. I'm here alongside Nick Marino and another one of our guests, Brendan O'Sullivan. Brendan is a middle infielder at Delta College out there in Northern California. Brendan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here.
Thanks, man. You coming on with us? It's a little late for us here in the East Coast. I know Nick just called a baseball game. I just had a bus ride home for spring break, but we're all ready to do this, man. I'm going to start you out with kind of an easy question here. Give me a scouting report on yourself.
Yeah, I'm a middle infielder, but I can play. I play second, short, third. I did that for the Honkers last year. Pretty good hitter. I mean, I'm gonna hit 300 at any level. Got some power every once in a while, and pretty good defender. And yeah, I can pick it up the middle pretty good.
I love that. You just said you actually kind of led into our next question. You said you'll hit 300 anywhere you're at, which is actually true. You hit over 300 for Delta last season, over 300 for Rochester in the summer, and then this year you're over 300 as well. Is that something you really focus on? Is hitting for average, and what's kind of your approach, like your general approach to hitting?
I wouldn't say I focus on hitting for average. I mean, here at Delta we have a kind of a point system, and it's kind of based off like barrels and hits, and a barrel is a 4, so like you're trying to average 4 points every at bat. So my thing is, try to get barrels, get good pitches to hit, and then hits come with barrels, and then pick up cheap hits when I can, get doored and drop one down the first baseline or whatever.
I've never heard that before. You're talking about points per at bat. I know barrel rate's a big deal, just in baseball right now. But can you talk more about that? Like, is there like a secret trick to getting more barrels?
I wouldn't say there's a trick. I mean, it's just kind of if you focus on it and get the pitches you want, like you're gonna find yourself some barrels. And like that's our biggest thing is just hit the ball hard, hit it low and hard. And we do our point system is like a barrel's a 4, just kind of a non-barreled hit's a 3, ground ball would be a 2, and then a pop out is a 1, and then a 0 is a strikeout. And your goal is to average above a 2.5. So like, you want as many barrels as you can, or 3s, and then 4 is also an execution. So we kind of just work on that every day.
Is that something that you keep track of? I mean, who keeps track of? I mean, is that something that's really preached at Delta?
Yeah, so we have a coach every game who does a point chart. So they, have our lineup, and it's like almost like keeping score, but with that, and then they'll list what you did, hit, air, whatever to get on. And then we have a running list and a running average of what it is, and it gets posted in our dugout. So there's a leaderboard, like top 5, whatever. So you want to be at the top. You want to see your name at the top every week.
Where are you at with that right now? Are you on top?
I think I'm 5th right now. Yeah. So at the top a little bit, but yeah.
All right, man. Yeah, I'll ask another one. Talking about JUCO baseball, obviously, where you're at Delta right now, a lot of the players on Rochester from Delta, obviously Coach Herbs, Delta as well. When people talk about JUCO, they talk about the grind day in and day out. It's not for the faint-hearted. You got to be a hard worker. So you kind of talk about like what that JUCO grind is like, and what like a day in your life kind of looks like when you're in the season.
Yeah. So like, for instance, we played yesterday. We had a 4:00 game. So I got to the field I got to our locker room at 10. I went on to our field at 11, got some early work in, then went 8, and then we got to the field for BP at 2. So we BP hit, take infield, outfield, played, got done, went 8, and then this morning we had 8 a.m. study hall, then 10 a.m. on the field, and then we were on the field from 10 to 2:30 today, and then 3:00 wait. So I mean, it's a long day in that sense, and especially day after a game, and then we go out and play again tomorrow. So it's constant grind being out there.
So summer baseball is huge, in the grand scheme of getting to the next level, getting to pro baseball. I've talked to guys. This will be my 3rd summer covering summer baseball. They tell me that summer ball is honestly more important than school ball. But how do you get on a team? How do you find you on a team? What does that process look like?
So last summer, Herb knew a guy who had a team in Kansas, so I went and played in Kansas for the first 2 months of the summer. Then obviously Herb was my coach, so he brought me out to the Northwoods team. And then, I got back in the fall this year, and he was like, you know what, we're going to give you a contract to come back out. We'd love to have you back out. So it's kind of been easy for me. But then for other guys, it's like our coaches, are sending out their information, trying to get them picked up by other teams, other leagues or whatnot.
Yeah, you mentioned Coach Herbs. Obviously, he coaches at Delta in Rochester as well. What's your relationship like with him? Like, how much does he mean to you as a coach? Also, but then off the field is kind of like a mentor and someone to look up to as well.
Yeah, I mean, Herbs, I spend a lot of time with Herbs. He's my, infield coach. So we go out there early, 3 days a week if we can, go out, get an hour early work defense in to work on my glove. He can never be perfected. So spend a lot of time with him. And, he also helps a lot with our hitting. Like he's big into, talking about swing, and it's a lot of swing thoughts and fielding thoughts. And we always have conversations. It's not like you have to do something his way. He wants you to get all the information and put it together and figure out what feels best for you. Well, that's huge on the baseball aspect. And then he's just a great guy off the field. He's always there and always with us, and he's a friend, and he's a coach, and he's just, locked in every day at practice.
So as a junior college player, your ultimate next step is to use Delta as a springboard to find a four-year school. What are some qualities that you want to see in a four-year school that you will ultimately end up attending?
For me, the biggest thing I've kind of been looking for is a team that's going to be top of their conference, competing for a conference championship, and then compete, to make a regional and make, go as deep as you can in the playoffs. And then as well as that, somewhere that's going to give me the best opportunity to make it to pro ball, where, they have good development, good coaches, and I get to, work at my craft whenever I want there and have them watch over me and help me to get to the pro ball.
Yeah, you mentioned trying to get to the four-year school and then the pro ball as well. Is there one part of your game right now that you're specifically kind of working on elevating to get to that next level, or is it more just a day in, day out, just put in the work and then the results will follow type of thing?
I think, now as a sophomore, it's kind of more of a day in, day out thing to get to that next level. There's always little things you can work on where it's not missing your pitch, hitting for power in certain spots, or, making those tough plays look easy. That's kind of just day in, day out work. And that's what we kind of do every day at practice.
Something that I kind of liked that I found when I was doing research on you, you're a two-sport athlete, man. Big freaking high school quarterback. Leading those Friday night lights, especially in California, the competition's super hype. Is there anybody that you played against in high school that we might know now, some kind of high-profile high school player that is tearing it up somewhere D1?
Football wise, I'm not sure, but Kyle Harrison, he's a top prospect in the Giants organization. He pitched in my high school league. We played against the kid who's in the Angels organization. There's a ton of kids from the Bay Area, who's moved on to pro ball. Then there's a lot of big names in sports who still play at colleges and play all around.
How do you think playing, being a quarterback helped you in baseball?
Well, for one, the throws on the run, that's a big thing, playing in the middle of the field. So that's a big thing we work on when I played quarterback. And on top of that, it's just the IQ and, understanding of the game. You got to be always locked in and know what everybody's supposed to do. And it helps me being a shortstop now. I'm always, looking around, seeing what everybody's doing and making sure they're in the right place at the right time. And really kind of just being a general in the field, just making sure everybody's doing the right thing.
Yeah, and I'll switch gears a little bit here. So obviously, you're from California, so going to Rochester, that's a big change. Obviously, geographically, culture. What was it like spending time in Rochester, Minnesota, and then traveling around the Midwest as well? What was that for a California kid, experiencing a completely different part of the country?
Yeah, it's definitely different. Definitely a big culture shock. Coming from the Bay Area where it's high pace, fast pace. Everybody's got somewhere to be, and then you go out to the Midwest and everybody's kind of laid back, latched on in a rush, and it's kind of nice. It's a nice change of pace to see that. And then everybody is just ultra nice in the Midwest. They're always greetings and everything. And then in California with people being rushed, it's kind of those kind of get lost in the shuffle sometimes.
Do you have a favorite memory from last summer with the Honkers? Obviously, we saw you only appeared in 12 games, which is relatively short compared to the entire Northwoods League season. But what was your favorite part as a Honker that's kind of making you look forward to this summer?
I think the crowds, it's fun to play in front of a lot of people. When you I'd say like, so my first game in Rochester, I got my first start late in the year, and my host mom was there, and I could hear her in the crowd yelling for me, and then all the fans, and I got to hit my first at bat, and everybody was cheering, and I think it's very fun to play in front of big crowds, and that's something I want to do for a long time, so it's a great place to do it in Northwoods.
I love that. Yeah, it's something I'm really looking forward to. I know John is probably as well, is getting out and kind of seeing the Rochester faithful. All we've heard is that there's such a great fan base out there for a summer league team. People really rally around. So we're really looking forward to that. But so once you're done playing baseball, whenever that is, what do you see after baseball? What do you kind of want to get into? What are your kind of interests once baseball is done as a playing career for you?
As you said, play as long as you can. And then my plan right now is to become a firefighter. Actually, my dad was a firefighter, my uncle is, and then my grandpa, my grandfather are all firefighters. So it's kind of like a family thing, and I think it keeps my the team aspect going, and just a good job.
That's sweet.
That is so unique. That's something I haven't heard. Okay, a lot. We talked to Frank Kraska last week. He said that he wants to be a color commentator, firefighter. So so you mentioned your dad. Is your dad someone that you're like a big huge figure in your life, someone that has really helped you on your way in your baseball and in your baseball career and in life?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, him being a firefighter, he wasn't there every day, but every day he was there. When I was growing up, it was sports, whether it was baseball, basketball, football, soccer, whatever, he was always there. He always pushes me to play, and he's retired now, so he comes to all the games. We're only 50 minutes away from home in Stockton, and he's always pushing, trying to coach me up, even though I always give him some pushback because that's just how it is. But yeah, he's always there and always supporting me through my baseball career and everything. And he even made a trip out to Rochester last year to come watch, so I'm looking forward to that again this year.
I love that. And so obviously you love playing baseball. It's what the saying is, you can't not be romantic about baseball. What do you love most about the game? What motivates you in those long JUCO days? You're grinding up at 8 every day. What keeps you playing baseball? What do you love most about being a part of a team and playing the sport?
I mean, it's just the inner competition, right? Every pitch is a competition, every inning, every game, whatever it is, it's always competition. And it's also inner team competition. You're competing with your guys. For us, we have that point chart. So that's a competition. And then you're competing, somebody's always trying to take your spot, and you're always trying to take somebody else's spot. And that's a big thing when it comes to, boiling it down. If you are a competitor and you want that, this is the sport to be in, because everything's a competition. So I think that's probably the biggest reason that I love playing baseball.
I mean, everyone says it all the time. Baseball is a game of failure. If you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're doing pretty good. But speaking of teams that have failed a lot, you're a big Oakland A's fan. The A's are kind of in a state of in a not so good state. I don't know. Billy Beane's gone. But how would you rebuild the Oakland A's? What is something that you would do if you were the GM? How would you fix that franchise?
That's tough. That's a tough question because they're bad. But I think it'd probably start with I'd hope to try to bring in a new owner. I know that'd probably be hard, but I think that's kind of where it starts.
Gotta build a new stadium. Gotta get a
new stadium, definitely. But I mean, I don't think that's the reason people don't go to games, because I've been to games where there's a lot of people, and people in the Bay Area love the A's. It's more of people are sick of just the poor play that we continue to have every year. Then we don't play any players. We let Matt Chapman go, we let Marcus Semien go, we let all these guys go, and it's people are kind of sick of that just rapid turnover. And I think that's probably the biggest reason people don't go to games. Obviously, a new stadium will help, bring people in always, and corporations will buy tickets. But biggest thing is putting money on the field and getting players to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough when your owner kind of looks at the team as like an asset and not like trying to win games. You got payroll that's like less than like Justin Verlander or Max Scherzer or something like that. It's a
There
tough,
was
it's a
there was
tough
a
thing.
crazy stat where once Rich Hill got traded last year, I don't think a single player on the A's was making $1 million.
I don't doubt that. Yeah, it's bad. They don't pay anybody, and I mean our farm system's good. We always have prospects, but they
Everybody.
play
I
maybe
mean,
a year.
look at everybody. I mean, freaking Josh Donaldson, what used to be in Oakland A. And Matt
Yeah.
Olson. I mean, all these guys that they're just absolute studs, and they just don't try to build around it. But
Nope, they
Speaking
won't
of
build
the
around any of them.
yeah. Speaking of the A's, this is the fun portion of the interview. It's one of my favorite parts. So there's a reason why I asked you who's your favorite team. It's because of the fact that I'm going to ask you 5 trivia questions about the Oakland A's. If you get 4 of them, I owe you a pack of seeds.
Okay.
So the Krasker brothers last week got 5. They're Pirates fans. Herbs only got 1 as a Yankee fan. And then Clint got 3 out of 5 as a Cleveland fan, but I made his part on purpose because he knows everything.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously the A's currently play in the Oakland Coliseum, but what is the actual field called?
Ricky Henderson Field.
There's one. Ricky Henderson, one of my favorite quotes. Somebody talked to him about John 3:16. Ricky responded, Ricky don't want to hear about John hitting 3:16. Ricky hitting 3:30.
Yeah, that's a great quote. I love that one too. Yeah.
Great quote. Been blowing up my feet. The A's have played in 2 different cities before settling in Oakland in 1968. What were they?
Philadelphia and I'm not gonna be able to get the second one.
Philadelphia and Kansas City.
Oh yeah.
All right, 1 out of 2. 1 out of 2. The A's actually still in Philly. They still have the most championships won by any Philadelphia franchise. The Eagles have 4. They're catching up. The A's have 5 in Philly. The Eagles have 4 if you count the 3 NFL championships before the Super Bowl. The only reason I know that is I'm a big Philly guy. Or 1 out of 2. Now, question number 3. Who was the last Oakland A to win the Cy Young?
Last Oakland A to win the Cy Young. Oof. I'm gonna be honest. I do not know A's facts, but I'll throw a name out there.
Not a big
No,
trivia
I'm not
guy.
a big trivia guy. I'm probably gonna do what
Education.
Herb did. Who is it? I don't know.
Come on, give me a guess. Give me one guess.
Catfish Hunter.
Barry Zito, 2002.
Oh, Barry Zito. Oh,
That's a tough one, dude.
That's
that's
a
a tough
pull,
one.
though. That's a
yeah,
pull.
that is.
These next 2 might be a little tough then. Who was the last the Oakland A pitcher to start in the All-Star game?
Starting the All-Star game. Who was it? Dallas Braden?
That's not a bad guess.
That's a phenomenal guess.
Dan Herron, 2007.
Okay.
All right, here's the last one. This is one of the most famous plays in baseball history. In Game 3 of the 2001 ALDS, the A's were leading 2-0 in the series. They're down 1-0 in this game. A's left fielder Terrence Long, he hits a line drive into right field. Yankees right fielder Shane Spencer fields the ball, throws it, overthrows his cutoff man. Derek Jeter is somehow there, and he nabs the runner at the plate to keep the game tied. Who got thrown out of the plate?
Jason Giambi. Oh, Jeremy Giambi.
There you go.
I knew it was one of the brothers. Yeah.
Hey, 2 out of 5 is really 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah, we'll give him. You give it 2.5 for.
I'll take
half one
50%.
for sure.
I'll take 50%.
That is not bad. You know what? I thought the Krasker brothers went off. They knew their stuff.
They also had 2
Frank
though.
knows his stuff.
They had 2 guys. I'm not trying to buy this whole team's seats. That's why I thought I would have to make it a little harder, but 2.5 out of 5 is solid for a guy who self admits that you're not that into trivia.
No, definitely. I mean, Frank's a big sports guy. I lived with Frank when I was there for the 2 weeks, and he loves his sports and he loved his team. So yeah.
Yeah, no, Frank coming back for your 3rd year, you're coming back for your 2nd year. But is it one last question before we end this? Is there something that you're really looking forward to coming back? Just coming back for like your first real full season in Rochester?
I think definitely I look forward to like probably the grind of the 70-ish games or whatnot, and then also just getting to play in so many different places. Getting to see the Midwest. We're gonna get to go to Canada. We're gonna go North Dakota, South Dakota, all over. So it's gonna be fun to see all that, playing a lot of big crowds and see a lot of good pitching, and just get to compete against guys and see what happens.
That's awesome, man. Well, we're just about out of time here on the latest episode of Block Talk. Thank you, Brennan, for joining us here. My name's John Calavita, and for Nick Marino, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.